Hi, I'm Jackie Bruton, and I am back with my 7 communication tips for moms of teen daughters. And today is tip number 3. If you've missed the previous 2, make sure you go back and check them out on IGTV or Facebook. Make sure you leave me comments or let me know if there are any topics that you want me to address in the future. So tip number 3 is let your daughter see that you are human. And what I mean by that is your daughter has to see you as more than just a parent. She has to see you as a person. If you want your daughter to share some things about herself, then you're going to have to be willing to share some things about yourself. Now, do I mean that you go and share with your daughter all the intimate details of the poor choices you made when you were a teenager? Absolutely not. But I do think you need to share some things about what it was like for you as a teenager so that your daughter will understand that you understand her and you can relate to her. Because have you ever heard your daughter say things like, well, Mom, you just don't understand, but it's different now. Things aren't like they were back in the day, back when you were a teenager, because they really think that you don't know anything about being a teenager. Now, granted, they do have some additional stressors that you probably didn't have, like social media or technology temptations that you might not have had. But what hasn't changed are the emotions that teenage girls go through. So you need to let your daughter know that I know what it's like to want attention. I know what it's like to have my heart broken. I know what it's like for, a guy to tell you that he loves you and for you to find out later that he was cheating with somebody else. I mean, maybe you were never cheated on, but you get my drift, right? But, and then the daughter can then realize, wow, my mom is a person. Because you know what? Things haven't changed that much when it comes to relationships. Because when men read my book, 7 Secrets Guys Will Never Tell You, A Teen Girl's Guide on Love, Sex, and Relationships, I can't tell you how many grown men have said, grown women need to read this book because adult men are playing the same games. And you know why they're playing the same games? Because they were teenage boys, and the games haven't really changed. And you don't want that girl to be an adult woman and still getting played by an adult man because she didn't get this stuff as a teenager. So some things haven't changed. If you want your daughter to share things about herself, you've got to share things about yourself. But let me give you another end of the spectrum. I'm also talking about when I say your daughter has to see you as a person and not just as a parent. And I'll share a story from one of my mentees who said that when she was a teenager, she and her mom, really butted heads a lot. And it seemed like her mom was always fussing and she was always rolling her eyes. One day, she said her mom came home and just broke down crying. Her mom was a single mom. And she said her mom just started telling her about how stressful it was on her job, how she wasn't getting along with her boss, and she thought that, they might relocate the company, so she might end up losing her job, and she was stressed out about, what financial impact will that have. I mean, just all of the stress. And the daughter said, for the first time, I realized that my mom wasn't the superwoman that she had portrayed herself to be, which was a good thing because she saw her mom's vulnerability. And she said from that point forward, my mom never had to tell me to make sure that the dishes were washed when she got home. My mom never had to tell me to make sure my room was cleaned up. She said once I saw how much stress she was under outside of the house, I never wanted the stress inside of the house to add to the stress that she was already going through on her job. That's huge. If your daughter sees that you're a person and not just a parent, if you can show her your vulnerability in areas that, there's stress that you're going through, you're stressed out about the finances, and you have to be wise about what you share and what you don't share. But as I said, if you want your daughter to share things about herself, you've got to share things about yourself because your daughter needs to see you as a person and not just a parent. So tip number 3 is let your daughter see that you are human. I have 4 tips left. Can't wait to share them with you. So make sure you come back every day to check in. And I'll see you tomorrow.